Hi, I'm Terry, better known as Mr. Whitekeys, and today I present to you a new set of designer eyewear that I just got, Starck Biotech Paris. So more than 20 years ago, Starck Eyes, as they were known at the time, revolutionized eyewear design, introducing the concept of bionism, which they describe as taking inspiration from the body to create technologies better suited to the human being. For example, all Starck Eyes frames feature Biolink, which is a patented biomechanics articulation that is inspired by the human clavicle. Just like the shoulder, it shares the same 360-degree multi-directional freedom of movement. This unique hinge ensures maximum comfort and flexibility. All Starck eyewear is made from organic materials using designs that are focused on using less materials and minimizing waste using science and advanced technology. The premium cellulose acetate frames are derived from processed wood pulp, and it's produced from 67% renewable resources in order to minimize environmental impact. It is renowned for its strength, its deep gloss finish, and high transparency. The result is stylish, timeless styles that are designed to last. Inspired by the human body, all designs are created to be ergonomic and provide wearers with the most comfortable fit and feel. And they're all handmade in France and Italy. Philippe Starck, born on January 18, 1949, founded Starck Eyes in the mid-1990s, working with well-known eyewear designer Alain Micli with the core concept of bionism. Philippe Starck is the son of an inventor and aeronautical engineer, André Starck, a background that can be seen to influence his design career. And I can relate to that because most of my background in software also is in aerospace, designing satellite software and jet engine controllers and things like that. All of his projects incorporate three fundamental elements: ecology, function, and ergonomics. The brand was designed to be ruthlessly practical and using technology and innovation to make them even more practical. The brand was acquired by Luxottica in 2013 and was rebranded to Starck Biotech Paris in 2019, the name that they are known by today. In 2021, they received the iF Design Award for its sphere technology, which is basically a screwless hinge that's made from a stainless steel ball and titanium temples. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Among his many artistic and architectural accomplishments, he designed a 256-foot yacht for Steve Jobs in 2008 called Venus, which was built in Aalsmeer in the Netherlands and was launched in October of 2012, sadly, just over a year after Steve Jobs' death. His industrial designs include furniture, decoration, architecture, hotels, wind turbines, bathroom fittings, kitchens, floor and wall coverings, lighting, domestic appliances, office equipment, utensils, tableware, clothing, accessories, toys, glassware, graphic design, and vehicles for land, sea, air, and space. He was even commissioned to refurbish the President of France's private apartments in 1983. Now, this particular frame that I'm wearing is the Starck SH2083T in a matte black brow line contrasted with a glossy navy blue, which is color code 002. Now this, of course, features the sphere technology with the screwless hinge made from a stainless steel ball and titanium temples. So let's look at that for a bit. So you can see that the brow line is black. You may not be able to see very clearly the flat black in the brow line. And then this lower piece here is a glossy, deep navy blue. So it has sort of a two-color scheme. And then, of course, these hinges are fantastic. You don't have to worry about breaking them. But if you look, they can move in any direction, and you never have to worry about them breaking. So not only does that make these practically indestructible, but when I put them on my head, I can barely feel the temples at all. Now, To this, I added a Shamir autograph progressive lens, which is just fantastic. It feels like my glasses somehow know what it is that I'm looking at and adjust the focus to meet the needs of whatever it is that I'm looking at. So that's kind of neat. So while there's no tint in this lens, so you can see it's just a clear lens, I did add the Sapphire Gen S transition. And that transition turns into a blue sunglasses when you're out in the sun. So this is the first time I've ever had a Gen S transition before. And they advertise them as the fastest changing photochromic lens that you can get. Boy, they're not kidding. Now, admittedly, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, which is in the middle of the desert. It was 107 degrees outside when I went to test them today. In fact, it's pitch black right now. It's still 102 degrees. In any case, I went outside. They changed to a category 1 sunglass in about 2 seconds, category 2 in about 7 seconds, and then full sunglasses in about 25 seconds. Then they become fully clear when you come back indoors in about 1 minute and 25 seconds. The Gen S transitions don't get as dark when it's that hot, and they also don't transition at all when you're behind a car windshield because the car windshield blocks out the UV light. On the other hand, the extra active transitions, which is another product that I didn't put in this lens, but those get darker than the Gen S lenses in the sun, and they darken to a category 2 sunglass even when you're in the car behind the windshield. They also are less impeded by the heat, which might have been a good idea for me in Arizona, but they weren't available from the company that I bought these from. So unfortunately, that wasn't an option. But I think going forward, I might get extra active transitions just because of where I live. The extra active transitions also take longer to change. They take about 2 minutes to darken and about 4 to 5 minutes to become clear again. But now I'm thinking that I wouldn't mind that at all. One of the biggest fears that I had was I was worried that the last time I had transitions, I was probably 14 years old, and I don't want to tell you what year that was, but it was a long time ago. In any case, and at that time, it took, 10, maybe 15 minutes to get back to clear once you get indoors. And that was something that really bothered me. And I never did transitions again since then. Compared to that, the Gen S lenses, oh my God. In fact, I almost feel like they change too quickly, right? The other thing I realized is that I was surprised to see that even at the darkest, I had no problem at all seeing indoors. So this tells me that the next glasses I order with a fashion indoor tint, I shouldn't be afraid to go darker, even as dark as 50%, because as long as there's any kind of lighting whatsoever, you barely notice that there's a tint in your lens. So that's kind of neat. I was also surprised when I got them because I thought that the blue on this part here, I thought that the blue would be more pronounced and more blue, But instead it's like a deep navy blue that almost looks black. You almost can't tell. And it's nice when the lenses change to blue sunglasses because it brings that out a little bit more. But otherwise, it's not as much of a contrast as I thought. What's interesting about these frames is the use of negative space. So there's negative space along the sides of the lenses. Notice that there's nothing attached to the sides of the lenses, right? It's not attached to the frame directly. And then also above the lenses, it doesn't touch the frame at all, which is interesting because usually with a rimless eyeglasses, they cradle the lenses from the top and then it's rimless underneath, right? But in these, it's the opposite. These lenses are cradled from the bottom with this middle piece here, and then there's nothing touching the frame on the top or on the side. So it's a really innovative design, and that's kind of what drew me to these when I originally selected these frames. Okay, so this is the box it comes in. So nothing terribly exciting, but it does say Starck Biotech Paris on the front. And then if you open them up, these are the glasses themselves. So this is what I was talking about. So the brow line is a flat black, but then this piece underneath is a glossy, deep navy blue. So I hope you can see that. Let me try to get my hand out of the way. And then what makes it really interesting is these hinges. And let's see if we can focus on one of the hinges. So this hinge is has a steel ball and a patented mechanism that can go in any direction. Kind of pretty much makes these indestructible, but it also makes them very comfortable when you slide them on the face. You just kind of slide them on and you don't even feel the temples at all. And then the other thing that makes these interesting, again, is the use of negative space. So when we look at these, the sides aren't touching the frame at all. They're just open. And the tops are open. So usually it would be the bottom that would be open with rimless eyeglass. So the top would sort of hold it like that. And then underneath would be detached. In this case, this nose piece sort of cradles these from below. And then the top part is open and the right part of this is open. So very interesting use of negative space. So like I say, this is a very interesting piece. And they give you a little cloth that says Starck on it. So, and that is Starck Biotech Paris. So this is again the Starck Biotech Paris SH2083T frames in a matte black and glossy blue combination, which is color code 0002. And that's all I have for you today. I will be getting more frames in, and I will talk more about some different frames. So coming up, we'll talk about Masunaga frames, we'll talk about T. Henry frames, and we'll talk about Tom Davies frames, and maybe we'll end up talking about some more frames as well. In any case, thank you for joining me. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.